ICCC ਇੰਡੋ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਚੈਂਬਰ ਆਫ ਕਾਮਰਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਟੂ ਟਾਈਮ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮੇਨ ਸਬਜੈਕਟਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ। ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੋ ਮੇਨ ਸਪੀਕਰਸ ਹੈ। ਡੇਵਿਡ ਐਗਨਿਊ is the president of Seneca Polytechnic और जो वो टॉपिक डिस्कस करन जा रहे हैं एजुकेशन के ऊपर कि हाउ एजुकेशन कैन ब्रिज द गैप्स, ब्रिज द कंट्रीज और एजुकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है कनैक्टिंग कंट्रीज। दूजे जो स्पीकर है करण गुप्ता, ही इज़ द वाइस चेयर ऑफ EDC और वो जो टॉपिक ते डिस्कस करन जा रहे हैं कि वाई कैनेडियन कंपनीज कॉरपोरेट शुड एंटर द वर्ल्ड मार्केट, शुड गो ग्लोबल। सो ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਸਪੀਕਰਸ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ। ਵਨ ਆਫ ਦ ਸਪੀਕਰ ਇਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਵਾਈਸ ਚੇਅਰ ਹੈ EDC ਗਰੁੱਪ ਤੇ। ਸੋ ਵਿਦ ਦ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ, ਵਿਦ ਦ EDC ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ, ਵਾਈ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਮਸਟ ਦੈਟ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਕੰਪਨੀਜ਼ ਮਸਟ ਗੋ ਗਲੋਬਲ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਕਰਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਨਾਲ। ਮਿਸਟਰ ਗੁਪਤਾ, ਵਿਦ EDC ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ, why you think that Canadian companies must go global?
I think, first of all, the Canadian market is a small market. So if any company that needs to grow, and that's most companies who wants to grow over time, if you want to grow, you need to go to the high growth markets that are growing faster. So typically most Canadian companies, often will go international to US. But when you look at globally today, South Asian market, particularly India, then Vietnam, Indonesia, these markets are expanding a lot faster. If you look at the GDP growth, the population growth, the youth, so for Canadian companies to be successful, it really needs to have a global play. Now, where EDC can help is we're an export development corporation, right? We're a crown corporation. Our mandate is to help Canadian companies be successful in exporting. So we can provide the knowledge support, we can provide the risk mitigation support, we can provide credit financing, we could provide working capital. So these are all the programs EDC has. And the Canadian companies can leverage that to go to the international markets. And a lot of them do. And I think it's to be used more and more for Canadian companies.
So what is the perspective now as of today? Like much of the Canadian companies, they are not global or there are. And also in relate to this, what about the tax regime here in Canada? Because
Sorry?
The tax system. Because we see if Canadian companies go global and we need a FDI also here in the country. But we have a capital gain tax also coming. Many investors, they are scared. So what do you think on that?
So there are a couple of issues here. So in terms of the Canadian companies, they do go global to grow. But often when they're small, especially small and medium-sized companies, they don't have sufficient working capital. They don't have the market knowledge often. So that's where some of these organizations like EDC could facilitate that process. And my request to most of the Canadian companies are you must avail the resources that are available in the country to be successful. Now on capital gains tax, it is going to be a little bit of an issue. But when you look back, several years ago, it used to be 75% was the rate and it went down to 50, now it's 67. So it is going to have some impact, but I don't believe it's going to be material enough to say there's not going to be enough inflow of capital. The market will settle around it. But in terms of the growth aspects, the Canadian companies must need to have a better footprint in an international market.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਐਗਨਿਊ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਸੈਨਿਕਾ ਪੋਲੀਟੈਕਨਿਕ ਦੇ। ਡੇਵਿਡ, how the education can bridge the countries, they can bridge the gaps because education is the core important thing subject which can connect many countries together.
Absolutely. I think that international education, the ability of students to move freely between countries, and not just for the purposes of immigration, but to have cross-cultural experiences, to make new friends, to gain a new language perhaps. And whether they take that home or stay in their new country, we're seeing those bridges of friendship, of relationships, of people-to-people ties that are durable and last forever.
David, nowadays in Canada for last couple of years, we have been the kind of immigration Canada is bringing. The IELTS issue were there. We know there's so many cases there, like people, they can't speak English. And the manpower which Canada required is the educated people. But what is coming is like they are having a business administration course and they don't get a job. So do you think the reforms in the international students is required at this time?
Look, you saw the kind of growth rates that were unsustainable, and you saw huge increases, campuses springing up overnight. It wasn't healthy. Now, I have some issues with the way the federal government approached this issue, but I understand that we have to have not just a high quality system, but high quality outcomes for the students, and that's very important. We at Seneca focus very much on making sure that students get work integrated learning opportunities while they're with us, so it's a much easier transition to the workforce. And that's going to be very important. Look, Canada is short, thousands of people in the healthcare system, thousands of people in all sorts of skills trades. We need immigrants in this country. We just have to do it right.
Yes, that's very correct. And in Ontario, if I say Skills Ontario, there are a lot of 300,000 jobs vacant because the skilled trade, many people, we have a workforce of international students, they are not into the skills.
No,
right?
that's right. But
But if it's a suggestion like why can't we make a mandatory skill course for international student so that we can fulfill our labor shortage requirement?
well, you have to give students the choice, right? If they don't want to go into, I can't insist that you be a doctor or a nurse, right? So you have to give students the choice, but you have to make it more attractive for them. And I think there's a lot of misinformation too around the kinds of jobs that await those folks going into those professions. So we have to have better communications, better awareness.
Okay, looking forward to your discussion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Deepak Shamnani, Vice President Events for the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. We're excited today to host this event where we have two good, very motivated speakers about why the Canadian companies should go global and about the education. We are very excited to welcome our guest speakers. They will motivate the members and the guests. So I encourage more and more people to join for future events. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Prashant Shrivastava. I'm the Vice President and Corporate Secretary at Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. Today we are here at our speakers forum in which two distinguished speakers are going to speak on very interesting topic. We have special guest Karna Gupta from EDC. He is going to speak on why Canadian companies should go global. Other speaker, keynote speaker, David Agnew is the president of Seneca Polytechnic. He is going to speak on education, connecting countries, connecting people. And again, in today's era, international education, trade go hand in hand. So this is a focus from Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce to bring trade, commerce, and these education-related initiatives in the forefront of India-Canada relations. And we are delighted to have a sold-out event. We had to close registration yesterday. We are expecting 80-plus business leaders from Ontario. They are represented from different municipalities. Air Canada, Air India, and other businesses are here. So we are very delighted to hear and looking forward to the sessions today. Thank you.
Hi, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us today on the talk series. We have two main speakers today. One of the speaker is from EDC, where you're going to describe about what are the opportunities where you can get the funding as well as what are the different scenarios available. So that's what he's here for. The second speaker is David Agnew, who's going to talk about the education and what's the future in the education. So both are very prominent speakers, and I'm pretty sure you all guys going to enjoy a lot of things today, and you're going to learn a lot today. So at Iccc, we're going to continue to do this kind of events going further as well. We have two more events coming up. First one is on June 13th, which is Startup Pitch event. And then also we have our signature golf tournament, which is coming on 1st of August. So hope you all can join us. Thank you so much.